let's look at the two teams that we have coming up. It is Adventurous Club, a team of In-Cities, against the Tile Inspectors, the team of Tolsimir, and the team that I'm a part of. And it was an incredible match with two very interesting and very different parks in comparison to each other, but not so different with some of the parks that we saw earlier, namely the parks in match 1, because match 1 had a park with a huge skeleton and a park with a drowned city, and this matchup has not exactly the same, but very similar things. The one park has quite a few skeletons, the other park is a drowned city, and the parks are Lost World for Adventurous Club, and we're not just looking at the logo here, we're also briefly going to check out, can't really read it right now, but briefly going to check out this little booklet that they uploaded together with the park. Has a whole backstory and basically tells you about what you're about to look at. I don't know whether it actually worked here that I scrolled down that PDF, whether you were able to see that. So what you're about to look at with Lost World, according to this little booklet, is an army general stranded on a lost island or a forgotten island or some kind of haunted island, so to say. Lots of strange things happening. He thinks he saw dinosaurs. He lost a lot of his crew members. And he has to just survive with some of the others on that island. And eventually they meet some other army people that stranded there earlier, and then eventually also meet a tribe that lives on the island and is not so friendly. And then the other park is Acqua Alta 1896. That's the park from my team, the Tile Inspectors, and I have a lot of opinions about this park. What you're seeing here is the Tile Inspectors backboard, so to say, the inspection board, so to say. And the park is about the high tide in Venice, which is called Acqua Alta, Italian for high tide. And it's basically the center of the historical city of Venice, which is on an island, which a lot of people don't know. And right next to that city center, there is a huge body of water, and we'll see what happened to it. But before we look at that, let's look at Lost World by Adventurous Club. And let me quickly load that up. And go back to RCT2. And here it is, Lost World by Adventurous Club, and already an incredible opening scene. And another park that doesn't have a map edge, actually. I shouldn't have zoomed out there, maybe, because everything that you just would have read about in the little booklet is instantly rings a bell here. Like, you're seeing some of the things that you read about. The waters are super dangerous. There's a shark called Grandma. There's a bit of bit of weird humor perhaps in the booklet, and there is an explosion because somebody died on the map, and the booklet, not to aim a diss at the booklet at all or at the humor in there, it's definitely really nicely created. And the booklet also tells you about how the island is so dangerous. And what you will also see if you know RCT is that the overall art style of this is just so fresh and different. They changed the color palette to something very dark, but we're still able to get in a really bright looking beach. A lot of incredible textures here on the beach, and I haven't really zoomed out yet because the map doesn't want you to instantly zoom out. It wants you to kind of experience the things on the map one after the other, and that's so artfully created. Here you see the shipwreck that caused them to get stranded on that island, and here you see the skull cave that the booklet also talks about, where they first tried to survive. Here you see a search party looking for them, and then as you look around the island, you see skeletons of large animals that, according to the booklet as well, used to live on the island. You see the military camp of those that had stranded there earlier, and then I'm going to move further now. You zoom out and you spot the place where that tribe lives, the second part of the island, and apparently also, and that's something I didn't know or didn't see myself. I don't know how to actually find that though. Apparently also the island was constructed to have the shape of a skull. I'm not 100% sure I recognize it or would have recognized it had they not mentioned that. But okay, yeah, actually okay, nose somewhere around here, maybe the two eyes here and here. I'm not sure. But it's definitely noticeable that the overall shape kind of looks like it. And then here you have that village of the tribe, and it's not really a village, it's more of a fortress. And here earlier also you had the people dying, or the ride car exploding there, and that's just a really cool detail to show just how dangerous the island is, in my opinion. I'm going to tone down the volume a bit more. And yeah, just overall, the texture work is absolutely incredible on this map. I said about Drowned, the first park we looked at, that it is a really beautifully crafted, technical park. This, in my opinion, even beats it. Not because Drowned does anything wrong, but this does everything right that Drowned does, in my opinion, and it also adds a fresh new look, fresh new textures that Josh in the not in the manual, in Cities is known for, ever since his Namibia park, and him and Hydroportal and the others on the park, Hex and Sens, really did super well with that. And yeah, I don't even know where to start. Overall, you see a lot of these skeletons of those old huge animals that the booklet says that this tribe has as deities. You see a huge spider here with smaller living spiders next to it. You see more skeletons here as the coaster supports. You see more skeletons here as the coaster supports. A crocodile skeleton here, and then, in my opinion, the coaster of the round, circling the chief's throne here. Beautiful dive. Awesome scene with the lava going through the loop. Awesome turnaround here by that army camp with the helicopters. And then one last 0G or inline twist into the station, which is a really organic structure as well, open structure, looks awesome. And the ride is called Rite of Passage, as it is apparently the rite that one has to go through in order to be accepted in this tribe, and it's just beautifully crafted. The layering here is just incredible. The texture work is incredible. I love how the watercolor is different for this than for the ocean. And then, for example, like all the dark themes on this, themes and scenes, you have peeps once this ride actually does something. You have peeps jumping in here in the sideline of that chieftain, jumping in as a sacrifice or appeasement to the gods, and then drowning. And you see every now and then that a peep drowned or died, which is generally, of course, not something that I want to encourage, but on this map, it's just depicted so well, and it's just such a dark theme, and the dark color of it all is so nice. Then here, obviously, it's a very violent tribe too, towards outsiders. Old vehicles here, a crash plane, vehicles of people that they captured, being hung up on this totem pole like thing. Then peeps dancing around the fire here with a beautiful fire. Obviously this monkey something structure with the lava coming out of it is incredible. The little pre-scene here on that coaster, with the bones holding it up, absolutely insane stuff. Then the scene on the other side, I think every angle you look from in this park is actually an incredibly crafted scene that could be like the cover art for the park, so to say, or the opening scene. You look at this, you look at this, and I frankly love this park for its composition and its really bold use of color. And in my opinion, the secondary coaster is also really cool. In my opinion, it's, I don't know, one of the most insane and fresh parks that kind of break out of the meta, so to say, that I've seen in a long time. And then you have references to those dinosaurs that were mentioned in the booklet in here as well. You still have that search party. You have more dinosaurs flying around the island. You have a plane wreck over here. Jalapeno expedition. Okay, some of the jokes still a bit awkward, I think, but overall, yeah, that's what they wanted to do, because that booklet has like that dirty, I don't know, not dirty, but like that strong army language in it. So they want it like that all over the place. And yeah, just such a great park, such ingenuity in crafting these scenes. The skull here is just incredible, that cave. Then the waves here, I don't know, just an insane park, honestly. And I don't have much to criticize on this map. I think a lot of people criticized the palette. I absolutely love it because I think it sets the tone. Yes, it's dark, but that's the concept. Just like I think when it comes to stuff like this, for example, for La Tomatina, I appreciated the execution of the concept with the red houses in the town center. For me, the concept there with the red houses wasn't my personal taste, though. For this, I guess it's still personal. It's definitely personal, for everyone to decide if they like that or not. I think it's absolutely the right call to have the dark palette here, and I think once they made that call, or once you realize that they made that call on purpose to really give it that dangerous tone, then yeah, I think it's something that I really appreciate, because it brings out the texturing in some of the beach and landscaping scenes, and it also really makes it look dangerous and doesn't make it look friendly and like a place where you want to stay for long. And yeah, very organic. It totally breaks the grid. It doesn't look like there is a grid in place on this map. The spider scene here it's just absolutely insane stuff. And I think I don't even remember the negatives that I had in mind for the park when I first looked at it. I was absolutely blown away, but of course, for every park you look at some things and you think, okay, that could have maybe been done a little better. I think here the concept is beautiful, the execution is beautiful. There's a lot of variation. I think it's great how they have a lot of stuff on the left half of the map, but the half where the people stranded and first had to get a foothold on the island is just so well executed as well. It doesn't have to be so dense. It looks super dangerous. It looks like they're absolutely lost. And yeah, just insane work. Absolutely insane work. And I'm just going to have to load the second park because otherwise, I don't know. We're going to listen to me saying that for ages, that it's such a great park. And I'm now going to open the second park in the matchup, and you would think, in theory, after I said so many great things about this, I even forgot what I had as criticism. I have to eventually come to a conclusion on what I can criticize about this, and maybe give it to the creators as some feedback on what they could even improve later on. But yeah, it's just so good, and still. And I'll say that ahead of looking at the second park, this matchup was the closest out of all of them. And this matchup was decided by a single vote. So yes, if you haven't seen it, the second park is also absolutely insane. And let's look at it right now. The second park is Acqua Alta 1896. And I'd hope that it unpauses. And now it does. And here it is. Acqua Alta 1896. And I'll quickly zoom out. It's raining. And it's raining in Venice. And it's not normal Venice, as you can quickly tell. Drowned was flooded London with, this, I don't know, new age, reusing of habitational space with containers and repurposing the materials that they maybe found, scrap metal or whatever, living in what was left to live in, building tents over the whole place. This is 1896, and it takes the idea of Venice being flooded by a huge body of water, and then there being the steampunk age, and the people who lost their homes obviously needed to recreate the habitational space as well, and they created steampunk style homes of that time of the industrialization age, quickly created them on top of the old buildings, steel structures, lots of metal, even some impromptu housing on this huge dam here that is off to the side of the map. And you can also see, though, that while there is a tide gauge here with water that is being let out in a controlled way, there's also a dam breach on both sides, and there's more and more water streaming down into this large body of water in front of the old historic town of Venice. And for those who are not familiar with what Venice actually looks like in real life, so I didn't build on this, but I'm also in the team, and I studied Venice as my master thesis project in university, and I will say it's absolutely such a great depiction of the idea or the setting, the lifestyle of Venice in real life. This is supposed to be the St. Mark's Square, the big campanile, the clock tower or bell tower, the cathedral and the Doge's palace. Over here, the building where the rulers of Venice lived while Venice was a huge, influential, trading empire in the late Middle Ages, or during the time of the Crusades as well. And Venice is an island, and it's so densely built on because obviously they can only use the space immediately available to them. They built on it with these long wooden foundation poles everywhere into the muddy soil and creating their islands. And here, just like in real life, Venice started sinking, and they have this huge dam that they created. I'm not sure whether this is for actually just the rise of the sea level, or because the whole lagoon was sinking, and because of the industrialization age and steampunk and everything, they were able to try to preserve the whole old town of Venice with a huge dam that they created around the whole thing. Might be the case, but yeah, you'll see lots of themes of industrialization and yeah, just the fantastical nature of steampunk all over the map. For example, here with this underwater train station with like a fully enclosed glass tunnel through the water. A train goes through it. The train station here, you can see the train station is not underwater. There is a glass roof over that as well. And you come out on the other side, and just like in real Venice, in front of this, if you're wondering why this looks like the old town of Venice and this really doesn't, well, it's because in real life, if you know Venice, in real life here there's just a huge body of water, and I guess here they decided when they had that dam they can build onto it from both sides, and because of all the housing that was lost, it's a great space for this impromptu housing units, stacked barrels that were, or cabins that were made available for those that had lost their homes to the flood. And it's just so awesome. And the gauge here, the detailing, the steampunk object usage, in my opinion, the best steampunk object usage we've seen so far. And then you have this insane depiction of Venetian architecture and the main square of Venice. I read someone say that they didn't like this building very much. Well, this is how the Doge's Palace looks, and it's a huge building, and it's a huge block structure, and it's just depicted so well with the texture as well. I think it's absolutely so well done in RCT. You see here even the old path, the former path, and you can imagine that the water level used to be a lot lower. You see here those tide poles that they have in Venice that show you how high up the water is. And you also see that they constructed these flood path above the original layer of path. And yeah, they tried to keep some of their monuments alive to visitors. And yeah, then you have the main square here. In real life it's full of pigeons. Here it's full of dirt, trash, dirt, all in the water. The boat kind of pulling apart the trash here. The boat tour leading into the old cathedral. There you can see it, the incredible scene here on the inside of that cathedral. And after looking at the other parks, it's even more. I can't imagine how these last two parks look so done and have so many details, and that in such a short time. And then Lost World was already such a finished product and so technical and so brilliant on so many levels, and then this has even more. I think it's fair to say that it has even more content on the map than Lost World, despite, in my opinion, Lost World maybe having the more picturesque set pieces. Not because this isn't picturesque, but because Lost World was absolutely insane at that, because every angle had a set piece, so to say. And then here, Old Town Venice behind the big squares. If you look at Venice on Google Maps, satellite images, you will see that Venice really is maybe the densest city you can find anywhere in the Western world. Then you have the little canals here, like Old Venice. You have the section cut through them. You have the section cut here through the Canal Grande. You have a nice little trick to hide the vehicles as... Okay, actually, not all of them. To hide some of the vehicles as they leave or enter the map. Yeah, you see how the Canal Grande is actually in a ditch, or has a ditch there that used to be the normal water level. I think they should have went even deeper with it. I think it's not clear enough, the way the ditch is shaped. And then, yeah, that's just half the map. And it's also just the ground floor layer of the map. And then you get over here, and that whole side of the map is basically sunken. And there's this housing on top of it. And one thing they really did so well is to just make sure that this dense city, while it lost houses, it also gained new ones. And it's clear that the people living in the city, just needed new homes. And that's why there's this huge layer of structures that were clearly built at a very different time, in a very different time period, why that's above it. And I heard some people say that they found it tough to really know where to look on this map, and also found it a bit weird that the two themes are so not connected. And I think if they were connected, I would instantly hold that against the park, because Old Town Venice is built in like the Middle Ages, and it's completely fully finished. Like there's no room to build anything in this area of Old Venice after, like, I don't know, 1500 maybe, I don't know. And then this would be 1850 and later on constructions. It has to look super different materials. The constructionism in this too, like the supports being built onto onto those houses, is something that we saw in Drowned 2 here. It's done differently, but it's also done equally as well. And then you have this factory building, and I will say I love the factory building. I don't actually know, it doesn't actually look like it's supposed to really have a specific theme. It's just some factory, it seems. I don't know. This is really cool though, the detail in here and also in here. So yeah, I think I think it's definitely a really good factory building. And then you have stuff like that, and then there is still the theme of, well, you need steampunk vehicles also. You have Venice. Well, Venice is huge for the amount of stuff they give you when you visit the city about Da Vinci. I was going to name the other Leo for a second there. No, about Leonardo da Vinci, about his vehicles. There's a lot of expositions about him, and here you find a lot of, or three in particular, three steampunk vehicles themed to Leonardo da Vinci. The original Da Vinci glider, then some kind of helicopter, some kind of plane that looks like a Wright Brothers double-decker plane. Then the boats, two boats. They're kind of similar, but I think with the time and the amount of stuff that is on this map, I think that's to be excused. I wish they would have had more boats here. I wish they would have had more different boats on the Canal Grande. I know that they wanted to. I know that time stopped them from it, but obviously I want to look at it as if I wasn't on the team and didn't know about that. Then obviously this waterfall object here, completely new. And the flooded docks here on the Canal Grande. It also perfectly makes sense that the houses along the Canal Grande are bigger, because they were the homes of the biggest traders and merchants back in the day. Here you have a submarine ride that tours through the sunken part. I didn't mention that yet. And then the only thing that I will say is that I didn't really care that much about the coasters on this map. The coaster in Lost World was by far the standout coaster of the round, in my opinion. Like the spinner got a lot of positive comments, but even then I don't know what the connection between the spinner or the factory is, while the flyer does fit the theme, in my opinion, because of the Da Vinci gliders, and it's actually named after one of the Da Vinci gliders, so that's why it is fitting thematically on the map. So I actually think I like it better than some of the people that commented on the park. But I think just the layout is not as good as the layout of Lost World's main coaster was, which was just absolutely insane. But yeah, the content on this and how close it is to the atmosphere of real life Venice and how it deals with people actually losing their habitational space and how they still add on to the city life, and it feels like a living city. And yeah, another thing I will say though is that I wish they had added more park boats here to really make it seem like there are people living here, which is what I was just talking about. But everything else is just spot on. I studied Venice, as I said. It's just such a good depiction. And as a conclusion, you have two parks, Lost World and this in this matchup, that are, in my opinion, just absolutely flawless. Like, okay, I mentioned a couple of things here at the end for this park, but I think just the amount of incredible content that is on the map anyway is just... it's insane that these two parks were built for round one. And yeah, I don't know. I just want to quickly address also a lot of people. I know I said it earlier, but a lot of people in the comments also mentioned how they wish for viewability. It would have been a more open map, or like in Lost World, perhaps, or in The Good Death, you would know better where to start looking and how to follow like a line of narration through the map. I think while obviously criticism is personal, I think it's tough to name that as a criticism for the execution here, but instead as a criticism of the concept. Because if you want that instead, if you want to look at something like that instead, then I think you would need to criticize the concept of depicting this Venetian city life in case it had been flooded in the late 1900s. Because Venice, as I said, it's just one of the densest cities there is. They used every square meter they had available to them and then created more than they had available with those foundations. And yeah, I think it's just a part of the city, just like it was for Drowned. And while Drowned, in my opinion, didn't really show the actual London infrastructure that well, this bend here, this is the Canal Grande, so to say. The Ponte de Rialto is positioned a bit differently in real life. Another centerpiece structure in Venice in real life. But the overall position here for the St. Mark's Square also really well done. Then there is this huge body of water in theory in front of it, so it makes sense too that there is no Old Town Venice architecture here. But obviously not everybody is going to have visited Venice already, so that's something that, yeah, maybe they should have added a map to the park, like a bigger map than there was in the README file, to really highlight that this is actually added on just in this steampunk age. And yeah, I mean, this gatehouse too is something you will find on the real St. Mark's Square and looks beautiful like this in real life too. Yeah, just two parks, absolutely insane stuff. And I'd almost wish to just load up Lost World once more again as well. But I think now is the time to wrap it up because it has been such a long stream. But before I, of course, want to still show you how this match turned out, because obviously insane stuff and just a single vote that decided between the two parks in the end. And it's so crucial to get that win, but just so tough for the team that lost. Which, let's see which team it was. Let me quickly pull it up here. And here we have it. The score in the end. The score in the end, as I'm trying to mute the music from in-game. The score in the end was 39-38 for tile inspectors. A lot of people also decided that they didn't want to vote and just nulled their vote. 39-38, closest vote there could have been to Insane Parks. I would give both of them a 90 plus rating, percentage wise. Yeah, and tile inspectors get the crucial win in an insane matchup, and what a matchup to finish round one of this year's edition of Head-to-Head, or of the 9th installment of Head-to-Head, I should say, every 3 years. And a big shout out also to the admins who have brought this incredible competition back to the community, and obviously a big shout out also to everyone who's new to the community, who is tuning in right now and hearing about Head-to-Head for the first time, maybe. Definitely check it out on nedesigns.com. There'll be many more rounds of parks to come, and many more great creations. And I, for one, can't wait to see what else the teams can come up with. And I don't know, any final words from you guys? I don't know. If not, I don't have any more words after these parks. If not, I'm just going to play that beautiful trailer by Roy R. once more. And then, thanks for the stream. Nice to hear your thoughts. Thank you. Six Frags. I don't know. That doesn't feel like a good final word for the stream, because no, it should be about the parks, and I think it is about the parks and the contest, and it's just such a blast to have Head-to-Head back. And I wish every team the best of luck in their future matchups. And let's look at that trailer one more time. Good night.